Our main topic is dodge roll.
Oh yeah, I forgot to break it down. Well, Enter the Gungeon.
Yeah, best damn game in 2019.
Nope.
And he just fell.
Yeah, because that gun is terrible.
It really is.
It is a phenomenal game. It's so good. I always say phenomenal on these podcasts. I've realized when I go back and listen to them, I'm like phenomenal.
It's huge. No, I'm kidding. It's a game of references. Is how I think that it could be best put. That it's just a big game of long form references to music, to pop culture, to games, to other games, to music,
movies, everything. It's just like, so basically, it is, what do you call it, like a bullet hell type game?
It is a bullet hell type of game. Anyone who's played Binding of Isaac would pretty much love this game to pieces. There's actually a few Binding of Isaac references to this. And
if you think about and if you don't know what the type of game is in, think of Legend of Zelda, you run around.
Yep.
Like in a top-down perspective.
It's really nice. It's great on the eyes. I love the pixel style art where it's simple, but it's got so much detail to it as well. I feel like a lot of people have that disconnect with Isaac because it is just kind of paper pencil kind of.
And it is really nasty too. So if you don't like that, you're going to be turned off immediately.
Yeah. But the thing is with Enter the Gungeon, it's a lot more different in the sense that you don't really have any consistent themes. There's so many different. It's a very it's very unique in the sense that it's not like Isaac where it's it's just nasty stuff rats and spiders and stuff like that. In this, it's more over It's just simply about the randomness. Yeah, the randomness, the items, the guns, which I think, if I remember right, there's something like more than 700 different guns and 800 some odd items or something like that.
That's not that many.
It's not that many, it's just one or two or a lot. And so what's interesting to me is a game like that, you'd think, okay, well, there's no way somebody could get to all of those guns, but it's a very unique kind of it you wouldn't think that it would have kind of a story mode or any kind of progression in the sense that Binding of Isaac is pretty much just it's kind of just straightforward. You don't really get new items unless you beat the game over and over and over, which to a point that's the same for
these type of games is because they're also roguelikes.
Yeah.
So when you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
And then you have to start all over, but you do carry progress in the form of guns and items and unlocks.
But that's what's kind of cool too is with this game, you do get better the longer you play it, and with Isaac, I never really had that experience. I was just kind of okay, I'm just trash at this because I didn't really feel like there was a good explanatory way of getting into the game. Whereas with Enter the Gungeon, it was kind of I remember when I first started picking it up and started playing it, the first thing that I did was die on the first level, and then as I kept playing it and going through it, I got better at the style of gameplay it is, because it's not bullet hell in the sense where the whole screen gets filled with bullets.
Although that can happen.
Although it can happen, and it does happen sometimes. But the game itself does a really good job, in my opinion, of making it so you do feel the progression from level to level. And the whole point of the game, at least in the storyline, is you're trying to kill your past. And at the bottom of this gungeon, after level 5, there's basically a gun that can kill the past. And each player that you have initially, it has something that it's trying to get rid of in their past.
So you have 4 characters. You have the Huntress, you have the Marine, you have the Pilot, and you have the convict.
Yep, and then all 4 of them have a pass that you can kill, and what you end up doing is just kind of getting used to a play style. Now, each one has their own. Now, they're not all the same, like in Isaac, where certain characters, they have benefits to them where, they play a little bit different than the other ones.
Yeah, these are like more different based on their items.
Yeah, and which is cool because if you think about it, it's almost like you have kind of a blank slate when it comes to all of the characters, and all that's different is that they have items that eventually when you eventually beat their past, you can unlock the items that they carry, which is really cool in my opinion. And what I feel like is different about it is that when you play it and you eventually get to kill a character's past, there's that sense of I've finished this, but it's still not over kind of thing.
Right, the war is still going on.
Yeah, and so I think what this does better than The Binding of Isaac is it doesn't keep the player from enjoying dying over and over and over. That's what I didn't like about Isaac, was dying over and over.
Yeah,
and
it feels like a huge failure.
Yeah,
and Binding. And this one is more like, now I have to try again.
Yeah, and it's super, RNG is a thing, and people are like, oh, well, it's all about RNG. It really is, especially when it comes to games like Bullet Hells and with this roguelike kind of stuff where you'll never get the same playthrough twice. And I like that. I like that about this game a lot.
Oh, what's RNG for people who don't know?
It's basically just random. I think it's like random something. It's basically when you have a game like this where there's so many different kinds of guns and items and weapons and stuff like that.
It's kind of like the drop rate.
It's exactly like that. It's like drop rates. It's super difficult to predict, and you never get the same run twice. I've never gotten the same run twice. And I really like that aspect of this game is every time I play it, I don't feel like I've repeated myself. I've always had a different kind of playthrough. I've always had pretty decent luck, and there's something to be said about the item structure in the game where you'd think with over 700 800 different items and stuff. And not only that, but there's synergy. So when you get certain items and you get certain guns that mesh well one way or another, if they reference each other or something of the like, it creates a synergy and changes the weapon, or it increases the weapon's effectiveness.
Sometimes it even combines a type of bullets, or it completely changes the way the gun shoots or functions.
Yeah, and
that adds a whole nother dynamic. But the game doesn't tell you what the synergies are, so you have to go and look it up.
Yeah, which I enjoy a lot. Is I was playing it the other day, and my brother, every time I would see an item, I would look it up, and he's just like, "What's the point of playing the game if you have to stop every second?" And it's that's what's kind of fun. It's kind of like having that booklet in Legend of Zelda. Yeah, it's kind of like having the game guide, from the older days, going on and looking at the Wikipedia, and because what's also cool is that it's not run by the devs. The Wikipedia is run by the people, so the people who play the game. So it's cool to kind of see okay, somebody figured this out. They they did some testing and figured out this is the effectiveness of this, and so. What's really cool, in my opinion, is how much of a community there is behind this game that you would think wouldn't really have one. Oh, goodness. We need to get that.
Duct tape?
Yeah.
Oh, it puts two guns together. Right?
Yes. Which is also, that's what's also fun about this game is there's certain items that are super unique when it comes to play style. What we just found was an item called duct tape, where it takes one of your guns and it attaches it to another gun, and so it fires both at the same time. Well, a lot of the time you'd think, okay, well, that just means you shoot twice as much. But with this game, each gun is so unique and different, where you wouldn't exactly think that you'd be able to why are we even going in this room when there's no
I don't
enters
know.
back to the entrance?
We just got a bunch of damage. Well, I got a bunch of damage just to go to a room we've already been in. It's kind of hard to play and talk. at the same time, but that's fine.
So, I think, okay, one thing to make note about, especially about this, is the uniqueness of the mapping. I've never played a game where, I could be playing and then I'd finally fill out the entire map and be like, oh, this is a small map or this is a large map. Like there's the same kind of thing in Binding of Isaac where you can have larger maps, but it's kind of cut and paste almost.
Right.
They're all uniform and they have the same kind of feel to them. With this,
there's I feel like in Isaac it just feels like there's three types of rooms.
Yeah, big rooms, small, tiny, regular rooms, and then
the layout on these rooms is really different. There's rooms with pits. There's rooms with conveyor belts.
Yeah, and there's just so much to the rooms besides the traps. It's like, just looking at the map itself. Like if we pull it up, it's like these rooms are so tight together. Like it's not like Isaac where when you're playing you're like, okay, well there's a big room there. There's the boss room, and you don't even have to be like done with the map to figure it out. Whereas as this, it's like it's so clustered together. It's so like tightly knit that you can try and predict what kind of room's coming up, but then it could be completely different. And there's something unique about it where in Binding of Isaac you don't really have obstacles to worry about. You don't really have to think about like ducking behind walls or using the environment to your advantage to block bullets and stuff. And what I really think is cool is to duct tape, the first weapon gets consumed and it is attached to the second weapon. So if it were me, I would attach Alien Engine to the Mega Man hand. So when you use it,
so how do I
use an item?
No, how do I rearrange my guns?
Oh no, you don't have to.
Oh, you don't have to.
So you just.
No, but if it won't do the standard gun.
Yeah, so just
like this.
Alien Engine, and then go to the Mega Man hand. Just change weapon, and then click it again, and now.
Oh, I don't know if that's good, but we'll see.
Well, notice so you can shoot it, or if you press and hold it, it charges way faster.
Oh, it does, yeah.
And well, you're using quite a bit. Ammo.
Yeah, crap.
But yeah. So anyway, the other thing about this game is there's so much to the references to other games. Like they have, like we were just talking about, they have like Mega Man's hand. They have Metroid. There's a lot of different.
On the Switch version, which I haven't unlocked the gun yet, they have the Switch controller. It's two Joy-Cons put together. Yeah.
And that's what's cool, is like I've never seen a game like this where they make so much effort to be in reference to other stuff. You know what I mean? They have a lot of stuff in this game.
It's like they have a reference to like everything you can think of.
Pretty much.
And the thing is, like, this is an indie game. It's not like a AAA. I died. You died.
And then I died.
Oh, my foot's asleep.
Mine too.
But so this is made by a very small group of developers.
Yep, it's by Dodgewall.
And I want to say this is the only game they've made.
Yep, well they're making they're on a second project right now because they just finished releasing the last update, which that's something else to be said about. Is you buy the game once and every update that they've done is free.
And
they don't charge people DLC. They don't do that like Binding of Isaac, where you have to basically keep on purchasing the game over and over and over and over again.
Right, it's basically free. And it's not like even an update, it's an expansion.
Yeah.
Like the amount of stuff that they add, the weapons, the campaigns, like everything, characters, it's all free.
Yeah, and that's what's super cool to me is like, they've got so much, they have so much going for them when it comes to the expandability of the game. And, they have probably enough room to keep expanding and adding to the game, but, stopping now I feel was such a smart move because of, how much they've done to the game and how expandable it is. And like I've been playing this game, Nathanael can tell you, I've been playing this game for a while now, like obsessively playing this game for a while now, and I'm still not done with unlocking everything and getting everything done. Like even after you kill all the players' paths, you have like hidden characters to unlock.
Have you fought the Rat King?
I've tried to, and
Yeah,
I've
that's a
lost
whole
every
nother
single
thing.
time, which is cool because, as we mentioned, there's 5 floors. Initially, there's 5 floors, but as you play the game, you discover that there's hidden floors between the floors. So, for instance, there's a floor 1, but then you can unlock the oblette, which is the floor between.
Is that like through
1
the
and 2.
elevator? Or
It's
the
just
pit?
through falling because you're going deeper into the dungeon. So there's other ways to get through it, but that's what's super cool about it is that there's just so much to the game, and you can keep playing and keep playing and keep playing, and there's just so much to do and so much to see.
And at first
so,
it seems like a really small game. Like you look at the characters and everything, you're like, oh, this is gonna be like a cute little game.
Yeah,
And it's ridiculously hard. It's like one of most content heavy games that I've played.
Yeah, and what I feel is super cool about it is, while like I keep comparing it to Binding of Isaac in the sense that it's in the same structure where you have a lot to do, but it's just the repetitive nature of the game allows you to continually experience new things, all while still enjoying and playing the game, without having to have that repeat that Isaac has, where you could end up getting the same 2 or 3 items and then you're stuck, and then it's like, cool, I wasted yet another 15-20 minutes of my run, which also there's something to be said about the things that they do to remedy that long form of adventuring in that.
Yeah, because a run could last like an hour.
Yeah.
40 minutes, 20 minutes. It's like a chunk of time.
Yeah, it's a long game, especially it's all dependent upon not only your RNG on like guns and weapons and items, but it's also pretty well dependent upon your play style. And I feel like that's the most fair way to play the game, unlike Binding of Isaac, where anytime you could, possibly screw up, it detriments the rest of the gameplay for you, which I don't feel is fair. It's not really just to punish the player because the randomness of your generated levels are making it so it's super difficult to play, but with this
you
game,
seem to really hate Isaac.
It's not that I hate Isaac. I played a good chunk of Isaac.
Yeah,
but
you're actually making me want to buy the game.
Binding of Isaac.
Yeah,
it's one of those games.
I've played it in the past. It's just like I don't own it right now.
Yeah, it's just one of those games where well, even Enter the Gungeon to a certain effect. It's one of those games where I've played it a lot, and then there's certain things about the game that aren't really, they're not manageable, at least on Isaac's side. I feel like Enter the Gungeon is very well fleshed out, and there's no problems with it. At least that's my opinion of it.
Yeah,
But,
I think it's a very nearly flawless game.
yeah, and that's what's cool about it too, is like there's expansions on the game. There's been 2 of them, both of which they've added so much to, and they've made them whole new games. So when the first one came out, to me it was like, okay, well, this is changed the game pretty much. This is the first expansion they did was adding synergies to the game, and that made it so it was like, oh, well, then it's basically like adding a whole bunch of new guns, which that's the other thing, is every expansion they do add new guns, and they add 30 or 40 guns at a time. And so it's like, great, just when I thought I'd be, getting almost every gun, you add even more. And then even past that, there's the synergies. So then it's like, sure, you could unlock every item and every weapon, but then you get the kind of the pleasurable experience of when you do go through a run and you see that nice little blue arrow pop up when you pick up a weapon or an item, and it synergizes with something else.
And then you're like, what is it?
Yep, and then you rush to the Wikipedia to figure out what exactly it does, or you notice exactly what it does.
And I think one of my favorite things, I mean, it's kind of obvious, but the guns, like, what are some of your favorite guns in this game? Like, there's just the amount of guns, because, like, when you do unlock things, it's really satisfying and everything, but it's not just, like, you unlock it and it's cool. You unlock it and you want to use it.
Oh, yeah, and that's what's cool is these guns, you would think would be, just kind of cut and paste of other guns, when, like I was saying, it's like each gun has its own unique play style within itself. Like, you get the starting weapon, sure, but then you have beam weapons, crossbows, you've got, mini guns.
You got charge up guns.
You got charge up guns, you've got so much.
You've got shotgun shells that shoot shotguns.
Yep, and you have
That's one of my favorite guns.
bullets that shoot pistols that shoot bullets, and then it's one of those games where you could keep playing it and get different guns every single time, and you would still. There's just so much to it. I just keep saying there's so much to the game because
there is,
and I think that part of the there's a lot of unique things about it, but one of my favorite guns is the black hole gun.
Okay, that's I think that's one you're talking about. Like,
yep.
I got a synergy with it, and if you make the bullets hit each other, it causes blanks.
Yep.
And blanks, basically, you start out with 2 during the game, and they will cancel out bullets, enemy bullets. Right. So like bosses shoot out a whole like massive bullets, you typically save your blanks for them.
Yep.
And there's like a wave of bullets coming toward you. You just activate a blank,
and it clears out.
So this gun like becomes the most OP like god tier weapon, and it's so fun.
It is.
I've only had it one time.
There's a lot of synergies with it, and I love it for that reason. It's one of my favorite guns because it makes boss rooms super easy. You just shoot one and it sucks in all the bullets, and then you can kind of just walk up to the boss and just go pew 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 pew, and have no problem.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is, and then
I'm thinking of a different weapon.
It's there's so much fun like with just unlocking items. Like that's part of like the first first week of playing, half of the fun was just dying, ironically enough, was because I kept getting new items, because even after you beat the boss you get these credits that allow you to purchase stuff. And it's not like credits in the sense that it's like a pay to play game. It's like it's all within the game. And
there's no pay to play garbage in this game.
And that's what I mean by it rewards you for how you play. It rewards you for learning and being better at the game and learning how to
And if you like don't get any damage on a boss, you get an extra heart. Yeah. You get this trophy that gives you an extra heart, and you can stack them with each boss. But you have to the better you play, the better you're rewarded.
Yeah. And it's a lot about memory too, is because then the more you play against a certain type of boss, you get used to.
Yeah, because they have like very specific fighting patterns.
Yeah.
But sometimes even the bosses will break out of it into a different pattern a little bit. So some boss fights are a little bit different.
Yeah. And then I know that a lot of people are like, okay, well then once you beat the game and once that's all done, where's the fun in playing the game? Well, there's just so much extra stuff that you can unlock, like just the NPCs that are in like the main area. You have one that if you wanted to make it a random run where it adds different challenges to the run, and you have one where it makes the curse, which is the thing. You have a curse which makes enemies jammed, which just basically makes them ridiculously tough.
They become red and like black and like shoot.
Yep. And
spicy bullets.
And then you have Blessed Run, which is anytime you finish the clip of a gun, it'll change into a different gun.
Oh.
Those are so fun. But then in this latest expansion, they have a Rainbow Run, which there's chests in this game. There's different tiers, like a brown is like going up the scale. There's brown, blue, green, gold, cursed.
Boss.
And then you have a rainbow chest, and then there's a glitch chest, and then there's one other one.
It's like super rare, right?
It is very rare.
Have you got it?
I've gotten 2 normally by like regular gameplay, and I've played for retarded long time. I think they said the chance of it becoming a rainbow chest is 1 in 1,000 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I know one of my other friends sent me a screenshot that they had got it.
Yeah, and it's like what? And I think I sent you a video, or I recorded it, and then it was like, well, and what happens is like normally a chest gives you 1 item. These give you 8.
Holy crap.
And you can use all of them, and usually it's like a couple of passive items, a lot of guns usually. And so the rainbow run is, instead of getting any chests on a floor, you get 1 rainbow chest at the beginning, and you have to pick 1 item from that chest. Which you'd think, okay, well that's stupid. You get 1 item.
Is that like self-imposed?
But it is self-imposed. You can choose it, which I think is what's really cool. Is like you're not stuck to the gameplay, and you can add and stack these. So for instance, you can play Rainbow Run, but then play Blessed, where sure you can pick a gun, but then every time that clip ends, you'll get a same tier of that gun. So if you get a rainbow chest and you get like a crazy S tier gun, if you play the Blessed Run, you'll end up getting crazy S tier guns that'll keep you throughout the game. And then even beside that, the characters that you play with make it so much fun. I think everyone starts with either the Marine or the pilot, just based on one of two things. Is the Marine gets an accuracy boost and a damage boost, and also one extra armor when you start.
Which is a blank.
It is a blank. Armor is when you get hit, it activates the blank. And then the pilot gets a lock pick, which 50-50 chance of picking a lock on a chest.
Which is kind of annoying because once it locks, if it doesn't work, it locks the chest, and
Yep.
even if you have a key, you can't do it. So like I played the pilot a lot, and then I just got really frustrated. I was just like, I'm locking myself out of chest most of the time. I don't like this.
It's fun though. And then the other thing he gets is charm, which is whenever you go to a shop, he gets like a discount on the items and the wares that are there.
He gets all flirty with it. No, he doesn't.
Right. With that
However you want to imagine
muscly
it.
mustache man. And I love that. I love that aspect of the game too, where there's so many quirky, different like NPCs and characters, and there's more to them than just interacting, pressing A, and going through the same dialogue over and over. It's like when you go back after a while, they have something different to say.
Right, and when you rescue them, they come back to what's it called? The breach?
Yes.
Yes, the breach. So it's like the main hub world, and it has like different shops run by different NPCs as you unlock them.
Yeah.
And you unlock you unlock the weapons with the credits that you get, and the NPCs sometimes have like missions for you, or then you get like rewards for that. So there's like so much stuff in this game again. You can't even go into it, and you probably will never touch everything in this game.
No, but that's the fun of it, is like getting to unlock everything and getting to that point. When I like a game, I want to get 100% on it, and this is one of those games where it's like, okay, I don't care how long it's gonna take. I'm gonna get 100% on this game. Like even past the first 4 players, you have. I don't want to spoil it for people, but you have the bullet, which is eventually you unlock a playable character that is a bullet. And
holds guns that shoots bullets. Or you could, depending on what you get, you could be a bullet holding a bullet that shoots guns.
Yep. And then you have the robot, which doesn't have health, it's only armor. And then you have, there's 2 other that have just unlocked. It's the paradox, which it gives you one random gun, and or one random starting gun, and then an active item, but it's random. So you could start and play, you can get like a rocket launcher and an active item that helps boost it. So there's that character that you can play, which will make it even more random and cool and fun. And then you have the final one, which is the final character that has been unlocked, which is the gunslinger, which is it's lore and stuff later in the game that you'll figure out, but. We were talking about synergies. His passive abilities, any gun that he has or is holding, gets every synergy that it could have.
Oh wow!
So you could and that's what makes it super interesting to me. Is like they keep finding ways to re-interest people into games. Like a lot of the time, people are like, oh, the beginning of the game is boring. You have all these crappy guns and they don't do anything. And then later in the game, you unlock this character, and then all those crappy low-tier guns suddenly become the best guns because they have every synergy that you could use, and they become better than the guns that you would unlock later. And so they're so unique in making you re-interest yourself in the game, even if it's not in the entire sense that they changed the format of the game. And they do updates every once in a while which change the balance of how guns are. So sometimes you'll play it and it'll be like, oh, well, this gun's not as effective as this one. And then they'll update it, and then suddenly it's the reverse, where that gun that once wasn't as effective is now actually relevant and good now.
But kind of like you said, they've come, I think it's the last expansion was called A Farewell to Arms.
Yep.
And it's like, so they've moved on to another game, so there probably won't be any more updates or anything like that. No. So the game is what it is now, but it's evolved so much and it's come so far, and they've added and fine-tuned and perfected it to the point where I think it'll be okay, and people will still play it for years.
Oh yeah.
Like even if they don't go, I don't think they'll go on to make Enter the Gungeon 2. Like they talked about moving on from the franchise, and they haven't really said what type of game it's going to be because they're like really early in development. But whatever they do, I'm really looking forward to their next game.
Yeah, me too. And especially if it's, I mean, I love rogue games. I love stuff like this. But even if they move on from something like this, just the way and the care that they put into this game and making it so people are actually enjoying the play and enjoying the styling, enjoying, making the game what it's supposed to be. I feel like a lot of the problems that we have with games that are like this, where they're, dungeon crawlers or bullet hells or roguelike games, they all encounter the same issues where initial play isn't as fun as if you're dedicated. And I feel like people who don't have patience, they give up on this game really quickly, especially because in the beginning it is going to be repetitive death and stuff. But what's fun about this is like it's repetitive death, but they keep you from feeling like it's a repeat over and over by making things completely different each time.
And this is one of those games I keep coming back to. Like I've for about 2 years on and off, I consistently come back to this game.
Yeah.
It's just, and I haven't beat any of the characters past. I like still am like stuck in this loop of not being that good because I don't invest enough time into it consistently. I want to get to that point, but like I'll be playing like a new game that comes out, and then I'm just like I want to play Enter the Gungeon. I want to just like get back into it, but it's consistent enough to where I like kind of maintain my skill, but I don't like surpass it.
Right. Yeah, and that's I feel like the best part about this game is how it makes you feel like exactly what you said. Like, did you ever consider yourself a dungeon crawler person or a bullet hell game kind of person or a rogue game?
Not really.
And see, it's the exact effect on me is I didn't really care for like games like that because I did
like
play.
Nuclear Throne is one of those that I played and I was just like I don't like this.
And it's the same. That's the same thing. Like Nuclear Throne, it has a lot of promise, and it is one of those extreme games where you just have to be repetitive and it's all about skill. Whereas this, it's like I've played with people who haven't picked up a controller and they go just as far as if I had, picked up the controller, and it doesn't even like. I don't feel like people really give it credit for that, where how they make it easy on the player.
Kind of like Smash Bros in that sense.
Yeah, where anybody can pick it up and have a chance at kicking some ass and shooting some guns, and one thing that I like about this is in the mapping of the game. Instead of having to go from one side of the map all the way to the other, there's actual teleporting to specific rooms, so you don't have to keep wasting the time moving from room to room to room to room.
Yeah, you don't do all this backtracking. Like instead, if you've been to a room, there's probably a teleporter in it that you could go back to at any point.
Yep, and
just pull up the mini map and go back.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost anything, and it's super fast to do, and it's like that's what I really like. I really don't give that enough credit. Because I feel like the runs would be so much longer if it was like, okay, well, I've run into a dead end, now I have to turn around and go all the way back and walk and do nothing the entire time.
And every room doesn't have a teleporter, so sometimes you do have to walk a little bit of distance, but it's like the teleporters make it so much better.
Yeah, and it's always like 1 or 2 rooms away. They never make it so it's like impossible to make it, to blast the entire distance of it. And so, but, and that's what's really cool about this game is it's so fleshed out to be good to play, not just to be good to experience, but to keep playing it and going back to it. And like Nathanael said, there's so much to the game where you will never find everything. You will probably never experience everything in the game unless you're that committed to it. But I think we're getting to the point now that the game is finished. This is the finished model of it. The editing and the modding community has gotten a hold of it too, and they're going to start being able to play with it with the finished model. I know a lot of times they have, for instance, there's different people I watch that it's a duct tape run where every gun that they pick up duct tapes itself to the initial gun. There's runs where every item is something like every item is scattershot, every item is certain types of bullets, every item is a dog, every item is something, an NPC or whatever. And so I feel like this game's got a lot of promise. I feel like the attention that people put on Isaac is going to be shifted to this game now that it's finished and now that they can kind of get their hands on it and kind of work into it and figure out ways
I almost feel like Isaac is like more niche. And this game is like it has broader appeal.
It is. And I feel like a lot of that is just expressed in the weapons and the items and the references. And, even if you have a reference book in the game, it's called the Ammonomicon, and you can pull it up and look at all the weapons that you've unlocked or have unlocked but yet to be found, and it'll actually tell you about the weapon a little bit, and it'll reference to certain things, and every single item and every single gun and stuff like that is a reference. Even the past to some of the players is like references to stuff. If you play the Bullets past, it's basically Legend of Zelda, but they rename things. Instead of Ganon, it's Cannon. It's a big fat pig that just shoots cannons.
Oh my god.
And same with other characters where the convict's past is it's related to Al Capone and stuff like that, and there's references to that. And so same with Space Marine, there's a Mass Effect kind of feel to his past and stuff. It's just there's so much fun to this game, and I can't recommend it more to people who, like, even the people who are like, I'm not really interested, into bullet hell games. I'm not interested in rogue games or dungeon crawlers. Pick it up. Like, it's not even expensive, first off.
No, and it's like $15, and then it's on sale for $7 like all the time.
Yeah.
And it's available on Switch, Xbox,
everything.
PlayStation, PC.
I, as a Master Race Xbox player, would recommend getting it on Xbox, because what you can do is, since you can play it on either, and because I'm both. Sometimes I want to play on the Xbox because I just want to, get home and sit down and play it. Other times I want to get on the computer and maybe play with a mod or do something like that and be a little more serious about the game.
And if you want to play it on the go, you could get the Nintendo Switch and play it in a handheld mode wherever you are, which is pretty cool.
That is really cool. I really feel like this is a game that is gonna see many more years of fun and enjoyment and playing out of it. And I really hope that if you are somewhat interested or intrigued in this game, that you pick it up and play it.
And if you don't play it, there's plenty of people who do runs online, and they do walkthroughs, and they do Let's Plays. And I have a friend who just watches a bunch of Let's Plays, and because he sucks at the game, in his opinion, even though he's like beat every character. And I'm like, okay, you don't suck at this game. You just aren't as good as the people online, but that's fine. Like, you're better than me. Are you saying I really, really, really suck? Yes, I do. But and what we didn't mention is that you can play co-op. You can play two people at a time. That's what we were doing earlier.
Yep, and that's what's fun too. Is like there's even an interesting co-op mechanic where the person who's second player. So the first player picks one of the 4 starting people, or 5 depending on, or 6 if you have all the characters unlocked or whatever. The person who plays the second character gets an item that revives either character if they die.
So it's like you get an extra life, basically.
Yeah, and that's what's cool too, is like then the chests are changed to where when you find a chest, it basically revives a player if they're dead, down to one person. So we could keep saying it so much to this game. There really is. So go pick it up, please, and enjoy it. If you have any response to it, you should shoot us an email at nerdnoutpodcast
at gmail.com. You could go on our Twitter, which is just Nerding Out. You could go on our YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on Podbean. We're everywhere. So
go ahead and look up, just look up a video about Enter the Gungeon, maybe even buy it and just try it out for yourself without any spoilers.
And big shout out to Evan, who couldn't be with us today.
Yep, because
he's doing responsible work, adult stuff. So.
And we're playing video games.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on, and we're gonna basically probably either play another ridiculous amount of this game and enjoy it, and I think you should too. So I've been David.
I've been Nathanael. I at some point will be Nathanael again, but until then, thanks for joining.
Yeah.
So phobias.
This is just what we're rolling right into.
This is just sort of like right into. Do you have a phobia of playing Enter the Gungeon?
My phobia is when I have the crest, or I have a key, or I want to get to the omelette, and then somebody breaks the water barrel when I'm trying to get to the omelette.
I never do that.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
That more floors, more items, more fun. Especially because you can.
Well, I like to splash in puddles, so that's pretty fun too.
Oh, okay.
So I'm the guy who breaks the barrel.
Well, eventually.
But do you have any actual phobias that you want to tell the audience of that they could manipulate and take advantage of? Really?
Heights.
I kind of don't like heights, but I don't have a phobia of it.
Which I'm going to be solving today, actually. Okay.
Wait, what? How's that?
I'm going up in a plane for an hour. It's a very small plane. The ones that fall out of the sky that you hear all the time. I'm going to one of those. So
I'm going to say no because I don't want to picture that because it sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just going to say it's going to happen. So
and where are you going?
Nice living. Just flying around literally for an hour and then coming back. I'm not flying because, heights. And then...
right, you'd probably crash the plane.
Need that. And then... Yeah, just trying to, beat some things in this year of 2019 that God has given us. Yeah, children, orphans.
Wives,
mainly, yeah. eggs.
Oh man, I heard this really. I'm not gonna remember it. So my phobia. I hope no. Oh, I hate this gun.
It's a terrible gun.
Yeah, it's really bad.
We're playing Enter the Gungeon, by the way, which is what we're trying to be talking about, but we're gonna be like.
Yeah, I have trypophobia.
Trypophobia.
Yes. I'm scared of porous holes.
Really?
I think that's what it's called. Yes.
So sponges.
No, sponges are fine. It has to be. It usually is on the skin, but if it's like really close together, tiny holes. Anyway, that's as far as we're talking about that because I'm starting to get triggered. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I get it. It is kind of a weird. It is a very.
It's very specific and very weird. I actually was writing an article about science or whatever, and I came across something while doing research, and I had a 30-minute meltdown at work.
No.
I was like, yes, and I was like sweating and like having a panic attack, and I was just like, what is this?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What'd you do? How do you get out of this?
You don't. You just
don't.
let it pass.
You just bask in the retardity.
Yes. Retarded.
Retardity.